Hello and welcome to Carmen Miller's Talk of the Town, Fort Mill, Tega Cay. I'm your host, Patty Mercer, standing outside of the City Council chambers in Tega Cay, South Carolina, where tonight's discussion is about Windhaven, a proposed annexation that would bring new residential, new commercial growth to Tega Cay. The question is it the right decision now, or is it better to keep Tega Cay as it is? Let's go in together and find out. Tonight was an important night. You had the reading of the proposal for Windhaven.
Yes.
How would you describe this evening?
It was great. We heard a lot more information in the public.
Now, where in proximity? We've got 160, we've got Gold Hill Road. Where will Windhaven sit?
Windhaven will actually sit right at the end of where Hubert Grant Parkway is now being built, and Hubert Grant Parkway dead ends into Gold Hill Road. We are directly across the street from Gold Hill.
Okay. What were some of the changes that you've made to, appease Tega Cay that were not part of the original plan?
Well, the biggest change was in respect to density. Density is a big concern with everybody now, as you can appreciate, as it relates to road congestion. And I think that's where all of our frustrations lie, is always in traffic and road congestion. So it seems as though housing becomes a real easy vehicle for folks to try to alleviate that, in their minds at least, to say, hey, let's stop. If I do less houses, we'll have less traffic. Or else if I push it out, it'll create less traffic. And that's not the case. Studies upon study will show you that sprawl leads to worse traffic nightmares than anything. So you'll see a whole lot more neighborhoods now will have a more higher density in a small area, yet still having a nice amount of open space. So we heard Tega Cay's concerns loud and clear, and our initial densities went from 740 proposed units down to below 400.
While we were in session, I was dead set against it, completely opposed to it a few weeks ago, based on a lot of the details.
Well, the headline said 700 homes.
Yeah, and 700
that's not
homes.
True.
And we
it's
also,
been tweaked.
Yep, and there were going to be apartments, which they're not going to be anymore. And there were going to be 700 homes, then there were going to be 600 homes. Now we're down to 400 homes. And by the time they do the development, it might be less than 400. So from a density perspective, I feel much better about it. And also, it is important that we have schools in the neighborhood. Right. And I know that some of the folks who are, rearing children or expect to raise children in Tega Cay will be delighted that there's both an elementary and a middle school in the neighborhood. So I think that that's a positive aspect.
So it's going to offer everything from millennials to empty nesters.
So that would be family housing, patio homes, and what else was there?
There'll be townhomes. It'll be two-car garage townhomes.
And that was an addition originally. There was
exactly.
The
fact making, when you have to do a two-car townhome, that makes the footprint much larger, and it also. But the good news is it also affords the ability to them to have master bedrooms on the main level. That appeals to empty nesters also, and then the patios obviously does also, and then we'll have traditional move-up homes for families.
So I know some believe that it had already been approved by the county.
Right.
That is not true.
Correct. And he never went to the county. So
he never did.
And I think that's one of the things, don't believe what's on social media. Don't believe all the things being circulated by emails. What you really need to do is come to the source. And in this case, the information, you can contact the City Council or staff, because that's where you get the correct information.
Two options in a scenario like this. You can go to the county where it's at now and ask them to rezone it. And it's in that scenario, you're asking them to do something that's quite dramatically different than what it is today. Or, as a prudent doing your research, you also go to Tega Cay and say, what's your thoughts on this? We went to Tega Cay first, and Tega Cay said, it fits our comprehensive plan. We'd love to talk to you.
I mean, even the school has already provided a letter of intent.
Yes, they have.
Which is really early in the development stages, would you say?
Early in the development stages, but this has been discussed between the school district and the developer for quite some time. Now, 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was no agreement.
Okay.
And certainly no letter of intent, which is one of the reasons why I was not for moving forward with the project, because I thought the school was a very important foundational piece of it. And in the weeks that ensued since we first started discussing it, that has now come to the letter of intent.
There's a lot of new information here, but I would really like to see more about that plan, more about what the city plan is and how it actually comes together, because there have been a lot of positive attributes brought together by the developer, but I'm not sure how that fits into what we need.
How does this fit into the comprehensive plan that Tega Cay has developed?
It is spot on. I mean, and we spent several years developing a comprehensive plan that we just finished, I guess it was last year at this point. And we had a lot of input from citizens, but one of the things that we talked about was smart growth and mixed use in terms of development. And this is what that is. You've got government and institution, meaning the schools. You've got housing, and then the business district. So we're going to be able to shop and dine. And
there seems to be an emphasis on a walking community mixed with commercial and residential. Why is it so important to have that commercial aspect to a development like this?
Well, if we want to have a true walkable community, ideally folks can walk to a job, they could walk to their neighborhood retail. In the perfect scenario, this is not quite big enough to accomplish all of that, but it's a good step in the right direction. And you don't want to, as many times you can alleviate people getting in their cars and going somewhere, you're going to take traffic off the roads, and that's the goal.
It seems just from watching that this developer has met a lot of the requests that were presented as concerns with this development. Would you say that there's more to be met, or has he accomplished what you've asked?
He's exceeded what we initially had asked for, and he's really worked with us. We asked for the park. He gave us the park. He's giving us a certain amount of money per home that is going to be built, and that's a minimum of $400,000 that will go towards this park. So it's not only letting us do whatever we want with the park, we also have a letter of intent with the middle school property. We have the commercial. He increased that commercial property as well, and greatly reduced the homes. And we have a diverse type of mix of homes.
I did take a look at the Clemson study that was mentioned earlier. It was done in 2006 for the city of Newark. They asked them to come in and do an analysis, and they dug into it. And they found, using their methodology, in favor of annexation in Newark. If you take their same methodology and apply it here, even at 400 homes, the annual cost is about the annual net cost is about $199,570 per year lost to the city. So I think there are some other ways to look at this that might paint a slightly different picture than the way we've looked at it so far, and I think they deserve some attention and care in looking at those. I put the response from that study, but using Tega Cay's numbers, out on a petition, and about 200 people have signed it against the Windhaven annexation. And I only had one comment that I showed that came up in that petition process that was in favor of it. And some of the comments weren't realistic, in my opinion, on both sides. But I do think the development sounds like a great development. It's very attractive to me. I just think it should be a neighbor of Tega Cay rather than part of Tega Cay.
So I think people are concerned about annexing because of the cost to the infrastructure of the city of Tega Cay. How do you feel about that?
well, there are costs, and I do think that as part of making this decision, the council does have to have a good understanding of what it is. The cost to serve is a real cost. So you have to understand if there is another benefit or if we're just spending money and not bringing in any revenue. This project doesn't seem that way. It seems like there will be a lot of revenue coming in taxes, for one, and then if we do get the business aspect, if the businesses come, then they're going to have to pay, for part of their license and so forth. So we'll get revenue from that as well. So there is always a cost to serve. You do have to be mindful of it. But this is a community, and having people in the community is also important.
Now, tonight there was a vote taken. It passed.
Yes.
What did that vote mean?
It's the first read, so it means that it will go for second read at the next meeting, our regular city council meeting.
This was quite an evening. I mean, there's a lot riding on this development, Windhaven, being accepted.
It is. I personally voted against it tonight,
I saw that.
Just strictly based on the feedback that I've gotten from the public. I went out and talked to as many people as we could, and 85% of everyone I talked to said, no, that's crazy, we don't want it here. And so personally for myself, I don't think I have to speak for anyone. I just listen to them and let their words be heard. And there was some misconceptions and some miscommunications initially, but I think as we go along in the process, people will get more informed, have a better idea. Kent Olson and Development Solutions, he did a great job. It's a great development. I just don't know if it's a great development on Gold Hill Road right outside of Tega Cay. I'm tired of the traffic. I don't want it to get any worse. I'd prefer to wait, let the construction catch up, the roads develop over the next 12 to 18 months, let Pennies for Progress do their job, and then let's address it and discuss it then.
So I signed that petition originally, that I didn't like this, but what I saw tonight made me feel a lot better. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and I wish more people would have come to kind of hear it. I think it's great. I don't love all of it. I think a lot of y'all said it. I wish we could kind of shelve this for a while, but it's better than I thought. I like that they're not doing it tomorrow. They're not going to start building. But I did have a question. So if we don't do this, if we say no, what happens to that property? So is that going to stay vacant? Who else could possibly buy this up and do something with it? I mean, do we lose control of it completely?
Right now, the land that, you are looking at to develop as Windhaven is privately owned.
Correct.
Okay, so this is just a lot of ideas and opportunity. The landowners, it's zoned for residential already.
Correct.
But it is now in York County.
It is correct. It is
Okay.
today. It's in York County zoned residential. And then when Tega Cay does their comprehensive plan, how they want to grow, where they want to grow, what do they want to see in that growth, this was targeted for exactly the type of community that you see presented now.
With that property being privately owned, it's already zoned for residential. Have you played the scenario in your mind, what if another, not even a developer, maybe just a home builder comes, has the price, buys it, and suddenly Tega Cay doesn't have any say in how it's developed?
Yes, and kind of getting all of that information over the last couple of months. Is there some risk there? Sure, or depending on the price per acre, the unknown. But I just don't. I'm not one to be pushing the corner and have to come out just because somebody says this is what you should do. Ultimately, again, like I said, I was elected to be a voice for the people, of the people, and I think it's a risk worth taking at this point in time, just because it's not something that people want right now.
And it's really a mixed use opportunity when we talk about a community where you can walk to things.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I think
pretty
that
cool.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
I know everybody keeps saying it'll be Baxter-like, or we're trying to develop something like Baxter. I'm not sure if this is going to get us there, but I think it takes us the next step, or at least a step in that direction, because people don't want to get in their cars, not just because of traffic, simply because you just feel like walking, or getting on your golf cart, which is
personal
also
cart.
big. Yes, your
Yeah.
personal cart.
I learned that here.
Yeah, and so, that should bring that ability to folks if that's what they want to do. So I think it's good. And I really do think that if we have a nicer profile coming in and leaving the city in terms of the businesses that are along Tega Cay Drive and then on Gold Hill Road, I think that adds value for all of us. So I look forward to it.
No, I just would appreciate and welcome anybody just going to the website, contacting us with any other questions, and to learn more about Windhaven. And we truly believe it'll be an asset to the area.
So there you have it. The facts about Windhaven, whether it's good for Tega Cay or whether it's better to wait for Tega Cay. One thing about it, the facts help make the decision easier. So do what you can to learn about growth and annexation from your point of view. And from our point of view, that's it for this edition of Carmen Miller's Talk of the Town, Fort Mill, Tega Cay. To see more beautiful homes in our area, simply go to homesfortmill.com. And to see the heart and some of these decisions that are happening in your community, visit homesfortmill.com and also Talk of the Town, Fort Mill, Tega Cay. I'm Patty Mercer. Until next time, goodbye.